Welcome to the Digital Coffee Date, where inspiration pours into conversations that brew meaningful change. I'm your host, Jessica Rosado, television host, singer, and multimedia producer. And every month, I sit down with bold, brilliant women who are doing meaningful work and making a powerful global footprint. Around here, we talk about the real journey behind success, the messy beginnings, the big ideas, the pivots, and the major milestones. These women come from all walks of life and industries, but one thing they all have in common, they're not just leading the way, they're paving a path forward. So grab your coffee and join us as we dive into the stories that shape future legacies, spark remarkable change, and remind us of what's possible. Hello, gorgeous. Welcome back to the Digital Coffee Date, where we go deeper than small talk and sip on stories that stir the soul. So today's guest is someone who is the definition of building with purpose and whose impact is as strong as the coffee beans she's roasted, okay? She is the visionary behind Mothership Coffee Roasters, a brand that began as a cafe and has since become a cultural force. I'm thrilled to welcome the one and only Juanny Romero to the show. Hey, I'm so happy you're here. You know, it was really, really cool. I mean, I feel like Mothership Coffee and the Digital Coffee Date, like they kind of are just a match made in heaven.
It's a perfect pairing. The stars have aligned.
Yes, and I am so here for this. We actually met at an ALPFA event. Mm-hmm. You were on the panel, and I got to tell you, I just remember thinking the whole time, I'm like, does she even know the like gems she's dropping right now? Because this is too real. Like, this was amazing, and I think that's where my mind just went. We have to get her on the podcast, and we need to just hear her story, because you have gone through so much, even from your life as you've shared, and, you know, talking about your entrepreneurship, where you are mother, wife. I mean, it just goes on and on and on with the hats that you wear. So I kind of want to take us back a bit to when you decided there was something missing that you needed to really create and said, okay, coffee is where I need to be.
You know, I always like to tell people everything is in hindsight, right? Mm-hmm. And it's really easy for me to like craft a story and be like, oh, I knew exactly what I wanted to do and I knew the path I wanted to take. And that is like not the case at all. Like, I was 23 years old. I was a hot mess. I used to love the clubs. I'd still be clubbing.
Yeah.
If clubs started at 4 p.m.
I'm like, oh my goodness, so interesting. Me too.
Yes, I was listening. I was in the backseat with my baby yesterday in the car because he doesn't like car rides. And I was like, please play WAP for me.
Yeah.
I need to entertain this child.
If you can just play WAP really quick. Thank you, Alexa. That's great. I mean, and that's kind of where you know, where you were coming from in terms of, like you just said, everything is more clear in hindsight. And that's usually the case. We kind of have those moments where we look back and we're like, man, I was over here doing this thing. So when did it click for you of this is now the path that I'm going to be on?
I think first was being on the path. And in the beginning, it was just forceful, right? Mm-hmm. It was like, I have to do this. My parents are immigrants. They don't even speak English well. And if they can own a business, I, as American citizen, should be capable of owning a business. And come to find out, like, it took a lot of hard work and grit. So I think that was like the first phase of like encouraging this part of myself that was like, oh, I actually can show up. I can be consistent. I do have grit. Like, I have the ability to like suffer through, to push through problems. So that was the first phase. I think the second phase was like, I want what other people have. And I talk about that. I talk about envy. I talk about jealousy, because that was also a part of my life. Because I came from a lower income. You know, like I mentioned, my parents are immigrants. I grew up in Queens, New York. And it was like a lot of have-nots. And I remember, you know, one short thing I like to say is like, my biggest dream in life when I was like a teenager was to own a BMW. And have a rent-controlled apartment. Like, that was like it.
That was the dream.
That was the dream. Yeah. And that was like as far as I could dream.
Right.
I didn't dream more than that. I didn't know that I was even allowed to. And so that second part is like watching other people succeed. And yes, in the beginning, it did stem from envy. And I like to say and use that word because sometimes I see people cringe when I talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want them to cringe a little bit. I want them to feel that palpable, like, oh, I have that too, but I don't want to talk about it. Because we do need to talk about it. Envy in the right resources, jealousy in the right resources, in very, very minute amounts can be powerful levers.
Yeah.
And I saw other people doing well. And I was like, well, what's the difference between that person and me? I have 10 fingers and 10 toes. I also have a brain.
Right.
Why are they succeeding and not I? And that helped that second phase of like, all right, now I'm going to do more. I'm going to educate myself and I'm going to become something more than I actually am. And I think the last phase that brings it into hindsight is come to find out this whole journey I've been on was purposeful, and it was waiting for me to show up. It was waiting for my heart to change, not to become a survivor, but to become a thriver.
Right.
To be open-hearted, to be loving, to not be afraid to have values, not be afraid for the other shoe to drop, to believe in God's abundance, to believe in that I'm here for a purpose and a reason. So when we wrap it all together, from this point of view, it looks really great, but the journey has been so many different ways.
Oh, yeah. And I resonate with that so much. I always say, like, my path was like a kindergartner drew a scribble all over the place. And you're mine was not linear. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I did this thing and I went to college for this and now I just do this and I've been doing it for so long. Like, I had so many different paths. I always knew what I wanted to do, but how I was getting there and the push and pulls of, my past experiences and then what I was going through. I mean, it was all kinds of different turns, U-turns, circle back again and do all these different things. But you said something really interesting about envy. And I feel like I love the way that your perspective is on it, because I often, when I talk about it of like envy and jealousy in the space, I've always said that, there's no room or reason to be envious of other people, because sometimes it can be very like this just negative, bad thing that you're harboring almost against other people. But I have always said, when I have looked at other people's stories and I have seen like, well, wait, how did they do it? I almost take what a sense of that envy is and go, well, maybe I need to connect with this person. Maybe I need to learn more about this person. And, it's not like, oh, hey, can I pick your brain? It's more so understanding maybe how they went about it. Maybe there's programs that they took that I don't even know exist. And it's almost like using sort of that envy to a degree, like you said, in that small amount, and saying, like you said, I have 10 fingers, 10 toes. Like, what am I missing here? And using it as more so a sense of not like, oh, I want her entire life, but there's a version of what I'm seeing and I want that for myself. How do I attain that? And how do I learn more about it?
Yes.
And I think that's huge. It's a different way of thinking about it.
It is, because, there's a lot of shame that comes along with it, but envy is part of our emotional landscape. So like, just like joy, happiness, sadness, anger, envy has a part to play in that.
Yeah.
Just having envy doesn't make us a bad person, but feeling envy gives us an opportunity to like recognize the landscape that I'm in. It's an opportunity to connect with, okay, there's something inside of me that is triggered, something that feels missing, something that feels like it doesn't have. And wow, I'm so lucky to have this feeling, but I don't want to attach myself to it.
Right.
Let me work through it. And I think that that's the key, is like when, for me, these feelings have come up, is to sit with it and to learn from it and then find out naturally what comes out from the other side of that. Because every emotion, every feeling is a double-sided coin, is admiration.
That's right. Yes.
And, we love it. We love supporting our sisters, right? And sometimes that can seem inauthentic. So how do we do it authentically? And sometimes it is going through these stickier emotions, these less comfortable emotions. And then naturally we just feel good and we feel supportive and we admire others. And it just changes our mindset.
Yeah. You know, there's a big part of your story is really how you grew up as well. And in many ways, I think for all of us, how we grow up and the things we go through really shape us as who we are. And you grew up as a biracial kid, like you said, from Queens, New York, you know.
Yes.
But what were, you know, maybe some of those early experiences that you think really kind of shaped the path maybe you're in now? Like almost thinking about that hindsight and going, oh, okay, like that's kind of where I get maybe this from.
I think the biggest thing for me is from a very young age, I always needed autonomy and agency. And coming from a household that was half Korean and half Ecuadorian, agency autonomy is not given to young women or to young girls. For instance, on my Ecuadorian side, I had to have long hair. I was not permitted or allowed to cut my hair unless my father approved of it.
Yeah.
And that went across the board for everybody, including my mother. And I remember after my parents had fought, they had a really bad fight. My mom, and her hair was down all the way down to her back. She went and came back with her hair cut all the way up to here.
Oh my goodness.
And that was her act of defiance.
Like from here, like from almost down, like her entire back to like her mid cheek.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was scared for her because, you know, what happens if my dad finds out and he's going to find
Right.
out. But also there's a part of me that's like, yeah, like be defiant, be a rebel. And that really like marked itself inside of my heart of like,
Yeah.
that's what I want all the time. Granted, my mom wasn't like that for me, but it did pave the way
Right.
for me to be that for myself.
Yeah. And, you know, you're actually talking about obviously being a daughter, but you're also a mother. So do you think any of those roles as daughter and as mother have really shaped your leadership style and maybe like the culture you're building with Mothership Coffee?
I think it was important for me. I was like, okay, I'm most likely going to make children who are going to be like me. They're going to need a lot of agency, autonomy. They're going to say no before they say yes. They're going to ask why. And they don't care who you are or what age you are.
Yeah. I love that.
Everyone gets one chance at bat.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, it's going to be really important for me to give them these things. But come to find out, you know, my daughter's now 12 and she's like, why are you trying to fix me? She has these isms that I'm like, she drops it on me. And I'm like, and I'm
You're
like,
like,
you're
wait.
so cool.
Yeah. You're saying this to me?
She's like, don't fix me.
Yeah. I love that. I'm just imagining my 12-year-old self saying that to my mom. I'm like, what would she do in that? Yeah, exactly. A little pop in the mouth. That's what it would happen. I'm like, sorry, Mom. That's incredible. And you're kind of building that even, like, there is a really cool culture of the business that you're building too, and it's clear that a lot of these different, you know, experiences and how you've grown and evolved are really trickling into the business, I think, as well, and how you are as a leader.
And it's dynamic. So like, for instance, I love agency autonomy. I thought all my employees wanted it. Well, come to find out, giving someone who doesn't want agency autonomy, it feels like a free fall. And I didn't learn that until they start coming up and telling me, they're like, hey, like there aren't enough rules and guidelines. Like I feel better with structure. And I'm like, really? I was like, that sounds horrible.
You're like, you want rules? Yeah, you know, and that's interesting. It's you kind of learning, you know, as you said, just how different people operate and then needing to figure out a way to kind of balance sort of everyone what they need. I'm like, that feels like a lot.
It feels a lot, but like once it clicks, it clicks. Like right now we have around like 123 employees.
Wow, yeah.
Mainly all like Gen Z, right? So that age group. And they've taught me so much. They've taught me about what it's like if I don't show up. They taught me about what it's like when I do show up. They taught me about values. They teach me a lot about like really engaging in an authentic way, and also like the downside to like what is authenticity at that age. You know, like they may not necessarily understand the deeper meaning of it, and they're trying on a lot of roles. So like compassion and kindness to that as well.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people talk about starting a business, but I feel like sometimes it can sound so trite, like, I'm going to start this business, but there's so, aside from everything that's involved in the many hats, there's this sort of culture you also have to build depending on expansion eventually and all these kinds of things that you have to think about. What was maybe one of the hardest decisions you made in sort of those early years of building your brand, and what did it sort of teach you even about yourself in those moments?
I think like one of the key things is like like almost every business owner thought I knew everything.
You're like, wait, what? I don't?
And I thought I was like the culture queen.
Yeah.
I've got the values. I have like a business manifesto. And I remember sending out like an anonymous Google form on like feedback on me. And like when I read that, ooh, oh my goodness. Like
I got chills and I don't even know what these things said.
like I was so naive, like, and so full of myself. And I walked into it thinking like everyone's going to say wonderful things about me. And it was very sobering, the things I read. And it's been a lot of those moments to like realize I'm not the best person for this role. I'm not the best person for this role in my company.
Yeah.
And being able to step back and hire the right people, because they're not just so much better at it. They're like living it. They breathe it, and it's like beautiful to watch other people take the torch.
Yeah.
And run with it.
That's incredible. I mean, I feel like when I said I got chills when you said that, because I'm like, oh, what would I feel like when I'm like, I must be getting back all this love, all these great things, and then you're like, wait, really?
It was like the original Instagram
me,
comments.
Right? yeah. Like, did I just get trolled? Like, what is going on? What is something about being a CEO, right, especially as a woman of color, that you think people don't see but really should, like overall?
Ooh, that's a good question. Being a CEO and being a woman of color it's really interesting, because it's so easy for me, and for a long time I've had a chip on my shoulder about it, where like I feel like I had to prove myself.
Right.
And it was so unfair when I'd walk into a room and other people felt so confident, like they didn't need to prove themselves. So there's this weird intersection where as CEO, you have to be vibrant and a commander, and you've got it all, and you just, go forward and march. And I have that like bravado.
Yeah.
But there's also this other part of me as a woman and as a woman of color that has the thoughts of like the other shoe's gonna drop, or
yes,
this is all just for a ride. It's never gonna last, or what's the X thing that is part of my childhood trauma.
Yeah.
And those two like warred with each other all the time, and it caused a lot of consternation. So I think if one thing that people would need to know is like, I like to say like our thoughts aren't our own. You can choose to pick up the thoughts you want, and you could choose to let go of the thoughts that you don't want.
I love that.
And it sounds so simple, and in practice it's like
Really hard.
deceptively difficult.
Yeah.
But as a CEO and as other women of color, if there's one thing I would tell them is like, choose to believe what you are right now and what you are manifesting. Choose to disbelieve those thoughts that have trained you to doubt yourself.
Yeah.
Because both can exist, but you can choose to validate the one you want and become the one you want. And you don't want to feed those doubts. You really, really don't.
Yeah. You have multiple Mothership Coffee locations, and you're continuing this expansion. How are you managing not just your, let's say, original vision for what you wanted to achieve with this brand, but how are you also managing this same vision with that expansion and sort of this evolution that also has to happen naturally with expanding?
Scaling is very difficult. It's if you look at the life cycle of a business, it's around this time, the expansion phase, where there is like sort of this second or third opportunity for failure.
Yeah.
So when it comes to scaling, there is like the linear aspect of having enough revenue, projecting for growth, taking the right risks, and then on the other side of it is building the stability that's needed. So like how I approach it is like, first, my organization is a body, and the body's interconnected, right? The hand can't work independently alone. It needs all these other parts like the arm and the head and all these things to make it work. Right. So I try to build organizations from a standpoint of like, how can we interlink this and how can they communicate with each other, all the different departments and the people. So there's that aspect of it. And then the next part of scaling is like, how do I put the right people in the right seats?
Yes.
And that's like, for the most part, there aren't a lot, even like the book Traction, which a lot of entrepreneurs use. If you look at the chapter, I think it's chapter 7. I was so upset that I remember the chapter.
Yeah.
And it talks about the right people in the right seat. And it's like literally like 4 pages. And it was like, no, this is like the most important part.
You're
like,
like, give me more.
yeah, give me more.
Yeah.
So it's been like many years of that and finding to put the right people in the right seats. And then when you talk about expansion, it's like, well, yeah, we are expanding. You know, we're not just 6 locations. Now we're at Allegiant Stadium.
Yes.
We do catering, you know, at the convention center at Mandalay Bay.
You guys are hearing this, right? I mean, we need applause, snaps, like, come on, queen.
So things are happening quickly.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do I stay ahead of it, but also not be afraid to just allow it to occur and trust the process. So it's like really a balance of both. I wish it could be like this singular thing.
Right.
But it's always disparate notions coming together and having to balance all of it.
And I think you have this unique talent, whether it was developed or innate within you, to really see your staff and these people, and when you're talking about which positions do they need to be in and choosing the right people for the right positions, I mean, that takes like understanding who these are as people and who would fit best. I kind of feel like there's a little bit of a talent for that.
No talent. No talent.
She's like, stop it with the credit. No.
None at all.
No talent. You just got it, girl. Okay, then that's what it is.
I use a technology. I use a tool.
Okay. Okay.
I'll
She's
drop
like,
it right
I got
here.
it.
If any of you want me to connect you, it's called Culture Index. I'm really data driven.
Yeah.
It allows me to analyze a personality along 4 points.
Wow. Okay.
And know like what motivates them, how to engage them, how to incentivize that person.
That is amazing. It's an actual tool.
It's a
I was
tool.
like, she's got it. She's like, no, we have help. And you know what? It's all about the tools and resources. Because a lot of that is why we're in the positions that we are, and you end up having those sources of help, whether it's from actual people of our tribe or, you know, asking AI for some
It is.
intel,
I love
you know?
AI. I treat my AI like garbage. I'm like, you did that wrong. Yeah. You're so dumb.
So you do that too?
Yeah.
Okay.
The AI is not my friend. It's like my
feel
slave.
So bad. I'm like you're my best friend at times, but at the same time you're like my worst enemy. So like we're gonna combat every now and then.
Not at all. Like my best friends, like they use it to like have these deep talks, and it goes, "Yes, sister, I see you," and I'm just like, "What is wrong with you?" Like
you're like, "This is a robot.
It's
Stop
a robot.
it.
It's my slave."
Yeah, you work for me. Well, you know, Mothership sources. And this is something really cool that you do. You source from female farming co-ops, and you really uplift a lot of local nonprofits. So when I see that and I hear about this side of the coin when it comes to what you do, why is it so important to really align not just yourself, but also the brand with this sense of women empowerment at basically every level?
It's 2-part. First, people told me it's not possible. A lot of small business owners, I love them. They're my people.
Yeah.
I will always, always on their behalf fight for them. Feel like they can't get ahead. And it is true. Like if you look at the numbers, it's more difficult nowadays for a small business owner to get ahead than historically. We talk about tariffs, we talk about supply chain issues, we talk about minimum wage increasing, we talk about this generation not being able to like, retain them for longer periods of time. And then also the life cycle, marketing has changed, right? No one has fixed identities anymore. So even the way they purchase changes from time to time.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of business owners feel a little victim-y. And if you look at it, how can you disagree? Well, I don't want to feel like a victim. I didn't get into business just to survive. I want business to do the things I asked for it to do and to do it well, because that's inside of me. There's a purpose, there's a vision, there's values I want to share with the world.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I did feel like a victim. I don't know if you remember that musical from the 1980s, The Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes.
With Rick Moranis.
Yep, I sure do.
And that alien plant.
I'm a musical theater freak, by the way, so anything you throw me that's a musical, I'm like, well, yes. Which number would you like me to sing?
Yeah. And it goes like, feed me, Seymour.
Yeah.
I felt like my business was that. And I'm like cutting off body parts. I'm surviving. I'm feeding it blood. And I was like, I did not get into business for this.
Yeah.
I was like, no way. And I was like, I will be in control of this. I will be in control of this animal. And then beyond that, I was like, and I'm going to show others, you can provide for others. This isn't like lipstick service, right? Not lip service, lipstick service.
Yeah, I caught that. It was like, wait, do we need to run that back? Lipstick service. What does that mean?
Lipstick service is we put on our lipstick, we go on Instagram, we show everyone how fabulous we are.
Yeah.
And we're all wearing like ratty sweatpants underneath and we're struggling to pay our rent.
I'm obsessed with that. That's gonna have to like be in like a graphic that I quote you on right there. That is so great. You know, you've created spaces that truly amplify the community around you and around others. What does belonging look like to you and in general, and kind of how do you design for it, essentially? Because you are creating these spaces that feel very inclusive.
I think it goes back to the earlier question you asked and how the two combine. So there is that first that I talked about, and then the second being our local nonprofits.
Yeah.
The people that we need to support, and proving by supporting others, it's actually supporting ourselves. It's supporting the brand. When we provide for these local nonprofits, our customers are showing up and providing for us. We're not demanding, we're not asking, we're not begging. We're showing up as a community because they already feel like they belong. And even though it was like my concept and my desire to bring this forth and to give back, it wasn't me that really started this off the path. I had an amazing marketing executive that I brought on, and she was able to take my values and my dreams and my purpose, and she gave it life and turned it into this amazing program. So it goes back to belonging belongs to others. Even though the belonging, I desired it so much and I started creating these spaces, the first thing I have to do is to give it away.
Yeah.
And that's the only way to be successful, is you always have to give everything away.
That's so powerful. And I even think, you know, in faith and what we believe, I mean, that kind of goes hand in hand, right? Like giving back and that sense of, you know, the blessings that come in tenfold because of that. And it's like you're not doing it for that and to, you know, but there is that reap what you sow. And and I think that to me will always be one of those golden rules. You've actually stepped into policy work. Like, wow. I'm also like, how, the question is, I think after this is going to be like, how is she doing all of this? Like, now we got a policy hat on, okay? And you've stepped into this as part of the Nevada Commission on Minority Affairs. What motivated you to really take that leap or that big step from business into public service?
I think because I really desired more meaning in my life. And having the white picket fence, having the nice car, yes, you know, my childhood fantasy of a white BMW.
Yeah.
Got it multiple times, right? It was more like, wow, like I've chased after these things that on paper sound really great, but there's a lack of something inside of me that I could really be giving to the world.
Yeah.
And how I show up and who I am is enough, and that God has created me perfectly to show up in giving to others. And that started me on the path to leadership Las Vegas. If anyone's ever been interested in it, I highly recommend apply, do it. It's worth it. And then from there, really understanding that, like, wow, we can advocate for others in this state and really make a difference.
Yeah.
And then opening myself and being expansive and open-hearted to allowing opportunities to come my way and taking it on. And it's been a process. So I am the chairperson for our legislative subcommittee. So I was in charge of bringing our bills, our BDRs, to session. And it's been a wild ride because I had like no clue how to do this. I didn't know what I was doing.
And you just like dive in.
I did it. I just went in and I was like, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, in you also have introduced through that these 2 bill draft requests.
Yes. So one got made it all the way to the governor's desk and got vetoed. And I was like really proud of myself because how many people got rejected by the governor?
Right. Oh my God. Do we need to make a phone call?
And the other passed and it went into law.
That is incredible. I mean, with this, you're obviously, advocating for others. You're putting this sense of support that we talk about and giving back to more of policy change and truly making a difference. So what do you really hope that these things that you're working on and you're always advocating for will really unlock for small business owners and underserved entrepreneurs?
So it's really funny. My friend, I like to call him my brother, every morning he sends me a text, and it's usually a meme, and it says, "Good morning, sister. I hope you have a great day. I love you."
Yeah.
And this morning it was the little parable about this boy's walking along a beach, and he's picking up starfishes and throwing them back into the ocean. And this man comes to me and he goes, "Boy, why are you doing that? There's miles of beach and hundreds of starfish. You're not making a difference." And then the boy looks at him, smiles, picks up a starfish and throws in the ocean. He goes, "Well, I made a difference for that one."
I love that. I love that.
And I think it's just that. It's innate within us. We all want to give. And we're under this impression, especially in this digital world, social media world, where we're the victim. We don't have space. It's not possible. And I've completely been that person. I still struggle with being that person.
Yeah.
But we all are naturally attuned to give. We're all naturally attuned to love others. We all are naturally attuned to being loved. And it's just that opportunity for myself. Maybe it's just purely, maybe it's selfish. Maybe I just want to give because I know it feels good.
Yeah.
And if it makes a difference for one person or a business or maybe it's not even needs to be that big. I'm a really big believer. I stand in line and I talk to people around me.
Yeah.
I get to know their name. I ask them their story. I smile and I see them. And I don't know if it makes a difference, but you know what? It makes me feel really good.
Yeah. And I resonate with that so much because that was sort of for me, the thought process when I first created the Digital Coffee Date during the pandemic. And while it came from a sense of, looking for inspiration and finding women who were achieving these incredible things in their landscape and, what they were doing, it also, I realized that this sense of conversation and this way where people are sharing their stories, and it started as like, what was that catalyst for you? And in that, all of these real conversations behind, these different women and their stories. And I said, if one person can find an episode and they're like, this has changed my entire life and this pushed me, and now that was the catalyst, like, my job is done.
Yes,
I've done
exactly.
it. I've done it, and that does feel good. And there is that part of giving back, and so I resonate with that. So we're talking about the stuff you're doing with policy work. I have to ask, what did it feel like to be standing on the stage at the DNC? Okay. Speaking on behalf of small business owners across America. I'm like, like, who is she? Do you guys know who's in with me right now? Okay, put some respect on that name.
So, fun fact, I was pregnant at the time, which was really cool. So I was like, oh, there's a we. We're standing on stage. And number two, last minute, they asked me if they could change what I was going to say. And if I was willing to say certain stuff. Obviously, if you heard it, it's really short, but it was a little bit incendiary to our current president.
Right.
And a part of me was like, oh, I'm supposed to like run this by my PR person. And I was like, if I run it by her, she's going to say no. So I was like, well, can I see what you wrote? And I saw it and I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
And I said yes.
Yep.
And I went on stage and I said, I did my speech. And afterwards, she was livid in the most kindest way possible. And, I pretended like, oh, I didn't know. But, now I'm going to say on record, I did know.
Yeah.
What I was doing.
You heard it here first, exclusive.
And we got like death threats. Like people were going to burn our business down. They were come in and like yell.
Yeah.
But it was like such an amazing process regardless. And there was a naivete that I had going into it. And standing on that stage and being able to like speak from my heart. And to speak authentically. And I wanted to speak with love for the things that were important for me, for the child within me. And lastly, there's someone that I know that I absolutely do not like that is like a big MAGA supporter. And honestly, I did all of that just to make that person feel bad.
I love it. You're like, so I know I was doing great, but, great work for others. All of that applies. But also, okay, you know who you are.
I'm still from Queens.
Yeah. You're like, don't forget. Don't get it twisted. And it's wild. I keep saying, you're wearing all these multiple hats in all these different spaces. How, and I have to ask this because, like I said, I feel like people are going to be like, how does one do it? And I always say women are superheroes. We have an innate gift to multitask, and I see it all the time. We have this insane way to compartmentalize, show up when we need to while also dealing with other things that are going on. And there's just this magnificence, I do feel like, about how we as women show up in all of these different roles. But for you, how does that look? And how are you sort of navigating all of these different things that you are and that make up your life?
I think it's important to show up with joy. There's just no way around it. It's going to be sometimes longer days, and there's going to be competing values that happen, different needs and wants that need to be met. But it's like, if I can show up with joy and having fun, then regardless, it's all good, isn't it? Right? And I think having the right people, and that includes like having the right partner.
Yes. My
partner is an amazing person. He's an amazing man. And, a little short, I love stories. I'll tell you a short story. We went out to dinner. A friend of mine told me like, oh, there's this place in town. It's in a casino, and you can get like a steak dinner for $21.99. And I was like, oh my God, we have to go do this. So we went, and I was excited, and we get there, and like we're eating dinner, and I'm holding the baby, and we're passing the baby back and forth. And I just have this thought enter my head, and it was like, oh God, this is where relationships go to die.
You're like, it's here. It's in this place.
And he looks at me, and he's like, what are you thinking? And I tell him, and he's like, oh, okay. And then I was like, you know what, love? I just want to tell you, like, I think I want to pursue and lean more into policy and the politics of things and do business. And what do you think? And he's like, I think that's such an amazing idea. Anything to keep you busy. Because if you're not busy, our relationship will die.
And here's where we'll be in this restaurant. That, it's so great because I think oftentimes there aren't a lot, at least that I hear about, conversations where people really talk about how important it is to to have the right partner behind you. I think there are people that are doing it solo, and kudos to having that strength and that wherewithal to do everything, by yourself. And, we talk about single moms, like with that respect to those situations and scenarios. But I also do find how incredibly impactful it is when you have a really great partner who supports you, who is like, look, I'm down for this dream. You want to go? How do we do it? How do we get there? My husband is like that, and I often feel like, we don't, because we're bosses. We're big badass women. We're like, we got this and all this stuff, which is all true. But it's kind of the same, thing of like, who are the people behind you where you're able to achieve all this. And I think that is one of the things you even said on the panel when you and I met at that event, and you were like the tribe, like the people, yes. Like it is so important about who you have around you, partner, friendships, that board of directors in your life, yes. That you go to. And so that's really, incredible to have. And in thinking about that, I'm thinking about this legacy that you're building. So what are you hoping when it comes to legacy that you hope to leave behind, not just through Mothership, but overall in how you've led, how you've lived, how you've loved?
So I have a personal mission statement, and it's to transform 1,000 women's lives and some men. Mm-hmm. Please don't sue me.
Yeah.
That's what I always like to say. And that's really transformed also how I do business and how I want to do business and how I want to give Mothership away to these people so they could bring those values and those systems and create community around them. It's the quickest way for us to share and spread love. It's not just about someone having a vibrant business and now instantly becoming a millionaire. It's more so about taking these things and making the change that's needed. It's like spreading a positive virus. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the only way to say it.
Yeah.
And it has to be by giving it to others. Or maybe it's like when you blow on a dandelion and the seeds float through the air. Like that's how I view how I can transform other people's lives. There is the idea of it, but there's not so much control over it. It's just giving it away and sharing it. And in terms of like how I want to remember my life, I want to really live. Mm-hmm. I want to make mistakes. I want to laugh so much that my belly jiggles sometimes.
Yeah.
I want to like go into the grave with a body that's been through a lot and has worked hard, but also has seen the sun and has beautiful wrinkles and has hip problems because I've been able to scale mountains. I just want to really live.
Yeah.
And I think this next phase in life is realizing that no one's standing in the way of not allowing me to live. Mm-hmm. There's no more fighting, because I used to fight a lot just to be. Because there are people out there. You mentioned earlier about your tribe and the people around you.
Yeah.
Once I learned about who I was and my mindset shifted, I started seeing the people who weren't really out there to help me or serve me.
Yes.
I mean, let's even talk about like my previous marriages. Mm-hmm. Those men, they can say all they want, but they were not out to serve me. Right. Even though, they were saying, oh, you're a badass babe and, look how successful you are. There was a lot of jealousy. There is a lot of that between men and women where it's like, oh, I can't allow you to succeed. And there's a lot of tampering and bringing me down and making me live in shame for a long time. And all that is gone. And I just want to live.
Yeah. It's so beautiful. And I loved the imagery you gave of the dandelion. I was like, the way that I just visualized it, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, the seedlings spreading throughout the world, like it was just so, so beautiful. And that is something I think that most people do want to attain. You want to live this life. You want to have this beauty around you in a number of ways. And, I love what you're building and the way that you're going about it. And so I just want to say thank you for sharing your story. The way that we close things here on the Digital Coffee Date, we have two sort of concepts. One is called passing the cup, and the other is the final sip. So for passing the cup, if this was your last cup of coffee with the next generation of women entrepreneurs after you who really want to build something impactful, what would you leave them with?
That's a really great question. I would leave them with this. It's okay to make mistakes because who you are is perfect. The problems and the difficulties you've gone through actually make you the majestic being that you are. So embrace all of those aspects of you and just keep moving forward because it doesn't define you.
That's beautiful. And now for our final sip, and I do a little Slurpee so they know that it's really our sip.
Let's
Go ahead.
do it.
Ready? Oh, that coffee's good. Oh, man. Now for the final sip. Okay, what would you say to women who are listening right now, watching this right now, who might have a business concept or an idea, and but they've got this concept, they've got this business, but they're saying, I don't have the tools that I need to do it?
You know, tools are definitely part of it, but sometimes it's about a mindset. A lot of times I hear is women saying, I don't think I'm capable. I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I'm worthy. I'm not a risk taker like you're supposed to be. I hear that a lot.
Wow.
I'm more of a mouse or I'm scared. And they already like vote themselves out of the pool.
Yeah.
Even before starting. And what I always say back is, well, I read a report from a Harvard Business Review, and they talk about the best and most successful CEOs that lead companies are those who are a little bit more modest, who are not risk takers, who actually look at things twice and evaluate, because those are the people that care about others. They care about their company and they care about their employees and they care about their customers.
Yeah.
But what we haven't said is this idea is that in order to be a great CEO, we have to be this risk taker and not care and just, you know, be the person in charge. And it's actually not true. Day to day, CEOs are humans, and humans have families, and families have communities, and communities have networks of values that are important to them. Those are the types of people we want to see in business.
Yeah. That is very powerful. Juanny, thank you so much for being here with me today. This was such an incredible conversation. You dropped once again all of the dazzling gems that I knew you would. Where can people keep up with you and everything that you're doing?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean,
give us all the ats, all the websites. Go ahead, drop them all in. Plug that.
So we have a @Mothership Coffee for Instagram. I think that's where you'll see most of everything going on. We have an email newsletter as well. For me personally, I don't have an Instagram. Maybe one day I will start it, but for now, you know, I let my company do the thing it needs to do.
Yeah, there it is. Well, remember to visit thedigitalcoffeedate.com where you can sign up for a free membership and our newsletter to keep up with everything from behind the scenes chats to new episodes and more. Very soon, you'll be able to download the Digital Coffee Date app, so you'll really want to stay in the know for that. You can connect on all social platforms at the Digital Coffee Date, and you can connect with me at I am Jessica Rosado. Can't wait to connect with you on the next brew.